The water monster is a Scandinavian story. In Scandinavian folklore, the Nix is a water spirit that lives in lakes and rivers, and is a terrifying being that seduces and draws people in. Once upon a time, it was believed that in the vast lakes of Scandinavia lived terrible water monsters. The lake was deep and known for its fog, and no one ever approached it. People were afraid of the water monster, a being called Ulrich. Ulrich rarely came out of the bottom of the lake, he just quietly continued to sleep in the waters of the lake. But every year, on the night when the moon shines brightest, Ulrich was said to wake up and approach the shore of the lake. That night, people always lock themselves in their homes, light fires, and pray. One year, on a moonlit night, Eric, a young fisherman, went out into the lake at night when he was too scared to approach the lake because he was afraid of the other fishermen. He had a large boat and had to fish to feed his family. However, seeing that the other fishermen were afraid, Eric, on the contrary, became interested and decided to find out the secrets of the lake. Ulrich and others are just legends, Eric said to himself. It's just an old story, nothing really should happen. Eric rowed the boat, watching the moonlight illuminate the lake beautifully. However, there was a mysterious tranquility in the lake, and everything was quiet. The silence caused Eric to feel uneasy. After a while, suddenly, the surface of the lake rose heavily. When the waves were higher, Eric felt frightened and hurriedly rowed the boat back to shore. But at that moment, a huge shadow emerged from the middle of the lake and appeared in front of the ship. It was Ulrich, the monster of the lake itself. Ulrich glared at Eric with his eyes wide open and his sharp fangs exposed. The large body and scales were reflected in the moonlight, like a nightmare. "Are you also the one who pollutes this lake?" said Ulrich in a low voice. The voice echoed deep in Eric's heart, and he was speechless. However, Eric replied desperately, trying to shake off his fears. "I'm just fishing to feed my family." Ulrich was silent for a moment, and then said quietly, "Every time someone like you appears, I wake up, but you need not be afraid. If you respect the lake and live in harmony with nature, I will not harm you. But I will never show mercy to those who disturb nature for the sake of desire." Hearing these words, Eric sincerely reflected and bowed his head deeply. "I swear, I respect this lake and cherish nature. And I will never be afraid again and live with integrity." Ulrich heard the words and nodded in satisfaction. "If you keep that vow, you will not be afraid. Nothing will happen to you." The figure of Ulrich gradually faded, and the surface of the lake quietly returned. Eric took a deep breath and rowed the boat back to shore. The next morning, he told the villagers the secret of the lake and Ulrich's words. Since then, Eric has always lived in harmony with nature as he continued to fish on the lake. The villagers also vowed to honor the lake and protect its beauty and power. Ulrich continued to sleep quietly at the bottom of a deep lake, sometimes appearing only on moonlit nights. However, it is said that his reappearance was as long as the villagers, including Eric, respected nature and cherished the lake, and no terrible events would ever happen again. That's it.